Welcome to our Alumni Association Awards presentation, a really inspiring way to end our annual homecoming event. My name is Judith Shagrin. I'm an MSW of the class of 79. Don't do the math, but I know I've been a social worker longer than most of you have been. Many of you have been alive. And I've got to say, I have loved every minute of being a social worker. I'm also the chair of the Recognition Committee on the Alumni Association Board of Directors. These awards are always a terrific honor for our Alumni Association. Our school has over 15,000 alums and a rich history of recognizing and celebrating the diverse achievements of our alumni. The Alumni Association has presented close to 75 awards to alums who serve as leaders, advocates, and champions in the social work profession. I am so excited and proud to recognize our newest awardees today. We always have the very difficult task of choosing only 5 alumni and 1 student each year for these awards. And I want to take just a moment to thank our recognition committee members who did the hard work of making decisions. Ozzy Ellie, Gabby Knighton, home with her new baby, Helen Murray Miller, who is here, and Barbara Polgar. Thank you. And now I would like to ask for Dawn Schaefer to come up to present our Student of the Year. And I'm going to ask that all of our winners, we're going to take pictures afterwards. So make sure you hang around for your photo and to take off your little thing for the photo. Come on up.
A little shorter than me. There we go. How's that? All right. So hi, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Dawn Schaefer. I she, they pronouns. I'm the Associate Dean for Student Affairs at the school. And I'm very excited to present the Student of the Year Award. This award acknowledges and honors a student who is currently enrolled in our school and whose exemplary efforts demonstrate the impact and accomplishments that the student is expected to make post-graduation, which is soon. The student's performance can be assessed using their current practice and fieldwork, volunteer engagements, extracurricular participation, research assistance, advocacy on behalf of a population or issue of concern, and or community organizing work. So this year's recipient is Steny and Simon. Steny is a first-generation Haitian American and a first-generation undergraduate and now master's student, soon to be graduate. Her concentration is macro-clinical with a specialization in health and a subspecialization in children and families because she, is not overly motivated at all. Throughout her time at the university, she's participated in a pilot for financial coaching. She has been a co-leader of the First Generation Student Success Program and one of our lead peer mentors. She's also a supervisor at UREC Fit and Wellness, which means she's getting up and here at like 5:15 in the morning, then rolling into her next thing and her next thing and her next thing. So my wish for her is rest at some point. She has a deep passion for service, fostering connections and building community. She hopes to work with many populations throughout her social work career and to do right by the people and community who have helped her to get where she is today as she continues to learn and grow. So I am delighted. Steny has been an amazing contributor to our school, to our profession. She has helped to keep the first running and doing amazing things. Also just one of the most compassionate and genuine people that I've ever had the opportunity. So I am presenting you, darling, with the Student of the Year Award for 2020.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone, and thank you. During orientation, Dr. Hicks told us to find our people, and I'm very grateful that I was able to do that. I was able to find mine. So I just want to start off by thanking the people that I've met and the friends that I've made while I've been here at UM. I'd also like to thank the faculty and staff that have guided me and instructed me, because I wouldn't have been where I am today if it wasn't for that. Special thanks to Dean Schaefer and Dean Taylor for always continually to support me and just being by my side through the heavy times and celebrating through the small wins and the big wins and friendship tea. I'd like to thank my family, especially my mom, for always just continuing to pray for me and sending words of encouragement. I know that my prayers are elevated and emphasized when she prays. And so I'd like to give that special shout out to her. And then I also like to give a special thanks to my partner, Ethan, for always being there, supporting me. Again, words of encouragement as well. Heavy times and the tears, wiping them away, and celebratory dancing when, I come back with good news, great or small. So thank you everybody. And I hope that we're able to continue to support each other here at UMB and wherever our social work careers and paths takes us. So thank you.
And next we have the outstanding recent graduate of the year. If Janice Stengel could step forward to present the award to Amanda Menke. I hope I.
Yeah, good morning or good afternoon. My name is Janice Stengel. I am an MSW from the class of 2008, and I'm a previous Outstanding Recent Graduate Award recipient. The Outstanding Recent Graduate Award acknowledges and honors the graduate who has demonstrated exceptional accomplishments in their first 8 years of post-MSW practice. I'm happy to stand in for my fellow alum and nominator, Keith Parteka, to share a few words about this year's recipient, Amanda Menke. Keith says, I am honored to nominate my fellow alum and dear friend, Amanda Menke, for the Outstanding Recent Graduate Award because of her tireless efforts for her clients and great contributions to the field of social work. Amanda and I first met when we were Peace Corps volunteers in Rwanda. Our conversations about the field of social work and the University of Maryland School of Social Work influenced me to apply for the School of Social Work. Throughout our time at the school, Amanda displayed her strong leadership skills as the student government president and a lifelong learner of social work. Her leadership skills and drive to continue learning has continued after she graduated into her professional career today as the owner of her private practice and founding member of the Johns Hopkins University Behavioral Health Crisis Support Team. I remember that Amanda was very excited to be offered the position on the Behavioral Health Crisis Support Team after seeing this work was very important to the field of social work. Amanda and I continue to discuss the field of social work and adapting best practices, as well as how to strive for social justice in the communities we live in. Unfortunately, I'm not able to attend and present Amanda with this well-deserved award. But as they say in Kinyarwanda, Tura Kumwe, we are together. Congratulations, Amanda, and continue to be a great leader in social work. It is my honor and privilege to present and congratulate Amanda Menke as the Outstanding Recent Graduate for 2023.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you so much. It is such an honor. When I heard that I was going to be given this award, I was incredibly shocked and surprised. So I want to thank Keith so much for nominating me and the board for choosing me. I would like to also, let me start again. So if you told me when I was young I would have been a social worker, I probably never would have believed you, except for maybe my dad, who's here today celebrating his something birthday. So now that I've had the privilege to serve as a social worker for the past 5 years, I can't imagine anything else I would rather do with my life. I'm so very grateful for the time that I've spent along my journey, from going to Towson for my undergrad to serving in the Peace Corps to ultimately learning and leading here at the University of Maryland School of Social Work. I've learned so much along my journey, and I'm incredibly grateful for all the family and friends that I'm blessed with, as well as all the mentors that I've had over the years who've guided me, challenged me, and humbled me. I firmly believe that everyone has a story inside of them that deserves to be told and heard and validated. So I would like to thank you for honoring me with this and allowing me to continue to do the work that you have helped me along this journey to know how to do so well. Thank you all.
And for the Innovation in Social Work Award, we have Eitan Diener Agus presenting the award to Kristen Peck. I don't want to ruin your comments, but keep them brief if you can. Your stomach's growling.
I don't know if I can. There's too much to say. Hello, my name is Eitan Diener Agus. I work at Lutheran Social Services of the National Capital Area as the Manager of Innovation and Strategic Projects, and it is my honor to present this year's Innovation in Social Work Award. The Innovation in Social Work Award acknowledges and honors a UMSSW graduate who has demonstrated creativity in developing and implementing a program, service, or intervention that addresses an unmet societal need, an existing gap in service, or provides a promising intervention, whether that be clinical, administrative, policy, or advocacy. This year's recipient and my mentor, Kristen Peck, is the Chief Executive Officer of Lutheran Social Services of the National Capital Area, an over 100-year-old human services agency serving the Washington metro area that just received the Lutheran Services in America MICA Award for its work advancing equity and justice. Prior to joining LSSNCA, Kristen served as the founding CEO of West Michigan Partnership for Children, a nonprofit piloting an innovative performance-based child welfare model, where she was named the Michigan Federation of Children and Families Advocate of the Year. Kristen also served as the Associate Director of Children's Services of the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops, overseeing national family reunification and foster care programs for unaccompanied children as chair of the Vulnerable Minors Working Group of Refugee Council USA. Kristen has testified before Congress on protection needs for unaccompanied children and represented USCCB as a subject matter expert on unaccompanied children to the UN Refugee Agency in Geneva. Kristen's leadership is informed by her social work education and her national and international experience serving on delegations across Central America, the Caribbean, Southeast Asia, and the Middle East to identify protection needs for refugees, asylum seekers, victims of trafficking, and vulnerable women and unaccompanied children. She also developed child protection standard operating procedures for gender-based violence prevention for the Burmese refugee community in Malaysia. A little more. Sorry. But why this award? Locally and field-wide, Kristen is spreading the message that innovation in social services does not entail reinventing the wheel. Rather, it demands that the field return to its principled foundations, that to move forward, we must recenter those who we serve and those who serve in the data-driven best practices of social work. I could talk about the massive growth LSS-NCA has seen in just the over 2 years of Kristen's stewardship, growing from 55 to nearly 200 employees, expanding across 9 offices, shifting from resettling 500 program participants a year to 500 a month. How all this positioned LSS-NCA as the largest resettlement agency for Afghan allies on the East Coast. But distinction lies not in the growth alone. The core of Kristen's innovation is in the process with which she makes the change and why. The care, transparency, honesty, and trust Kristen embodies is the innovation that is so needed in our institutions today. As those we serve call out for systems change, Kristen beckons return to our values and principles of social work, principles as innovative when they were established as they are essential today. Just take Kristen's recent presentation to the White House and Department of Homeland Security regarding alternatives to detention. Spoke of the importance of services tending to each level of Maslow's hierarchy before expecting higher order outcomes. Case management, she argued, cannot revolve around court-ordered compliance. It must be rooted in principles of person-centered and trauma-informed service. Echoing her call, other advocates pointed out how adverse outcomes in various alternatives to detention programs were not caused by some technical malfunction, but components fundamental to the structure of the program. We not reinvent the wheel, Kristen says. The way forward is a return to evidence, to proven best practices, centering first the person, not the political process. The University of Maryland School of Social Work Innovation Award for Kristen not only recognizes her dedication to vulnerable communities in the social work field, but it affirms that true innovation today demands returning to who we really are and why we entered this field. But the way forward through challenges of our time is not reinvention, but reclamation. Lastly, like for so many others, Kristen has been an incredible role model for me, showing me the transformational power of never leaving anyone behind, of setting our sights high and getting to work, and how to make a 100-year-old organization stay as nimble as a startup, constantly shifting to meet our community's needs. My honor to present and congratulate Kristen Peck with the Innovation in Social Award for 2023.
I just said to Aton, how am I supposed to talk after that? Good afternoon, and thank you so much to the committee and to the School of Social Work for selecting me for this esteemed honor. And thank you to my colleagues, Aton Diener Agus and Jen Friedel, for nominating me. That was the absolute best kind of secret. It's an incredible privilege to find alignment in purpose and your career. And I'm so very lucky to have found my purpose in social work. When I started at the School of Social Work, I didn't know what I wanted my career to look like. I just had a deep knowing that my purpose in life was to be a helper. And what I learned from my education here is that the people that we aim to help are not inherently vulnerable, but are made vulnerable by failed states, by unjust policies, and by flawed systems. And my second year field placement at the University of Maryland opened my eyes to families and children that are forced to flee their homes due to war, violence, and persecution. And serving those people has been my passion, and advocating on their behalf has been my passion over the past 20 years. I learned more about faith and gratitude and resilience and hope from this work than I have anywhere else. So it's a true honor to receive this award. I really see innovation in social work as not accepting the status quo, but finding ways to influence and develop policies and programs and systems that are in support of a vision where everyone is welcome, where everyone feels a deep sense of belonging, and everyone has the tools and access so that they can live into their fullest potential and thrive. Thank you again for this honor. I'm deeply grateful.
We have next the Field Instructor of the Year Award. And this award winner, I have to say, is kind of near and dear to my heart because I knew her as a baby beginner. And I really admire her spirit and determination. And I was so excited to get her nomination among the others for Field Instructor, and even more excited that my colleagues agreed to select her as the winner. So if Marianne would come forward and present the award for Lola Mae Russell.
Good afternoon. I am Marianne Wood, for those of you who don't know me, and I will be presenting this year's Field Instructor of the Year Award, and the winner is Lola Mae Russell. This award acknowledges and honors an alum for their outstanding performance as a field instructor. The recipient is recognized for their outstanding leadership, intern supervision, and mentorship. Ms. Russell is a 2005 grad of the School of Social Work and has extensive experience in the social work field. She works as a clinician with individuals across their lifespans in the area of various mental health diagnoses. Imagine how much she is in demand right now. She works with PTSD, depression, and bipolar disorder. She has also done her fair share of work with intimate partner violence, anxiety disorders, family conflicts, and those suffering from grief and loss. You name it. Ms. Russell identifies and applies treatment modalities that meet each client's specific needs. Her practice creates an extremely rich experience for our interns. Ms. Russell says that she got into the field of social work because she cares about people and she's intrigued by the nature of self-awareness, self-healing, and the exploration for strategies for mental wellness. One of the major goals is to provide individuals with clinical support and guidance for managing their emotions and symptoms so that they may learn the skills to obtain social, emotional, and mental stability. Yes, I am the person who nominated her because she definitely stands out in a crowd. I have worked with her as a liaison for the past 3 years. And each year I have been amazed with her organization, creativity, and dedication to make our interns the best they can be. She by no means is easy. And sometimes I've heard groans from interns. But at the end of the year, they cannot stop singing her praises because she goes above and beyond. And one thing I do want to mention, because we had so much conversation today about self-care. It was at the beginning of the year, she told me that she had started Lola Days. Lola Days, now correct me if I'm wrong, are once a month or once a week. Once a week where she takes care of herself. And I thought that was such a wonderful example. I am so pleased and so proud to introduce you to Lola Mae Russell, our field instructor of the year.
Thank you so much, Dean Wood. I really appreciate you nominating me. Thank you to the Board of Directors for selecting me, and thank everyone here for this opportunity. I would like to thank my family. They always encourage me never to give up. You said a few things at the end, and I thought about you, Judith. 2 days after graduation, I started with Baltimore County Department of Social Services, and I have to thank leaders like Judith, and other supervisors that supervised me and helped me to be where I am today. I really appreciate you. I'm able to give back to students because of leaders like yourself, mentors, Regina, I appreciate you, and also you, Dean Wood. So I appreciate everything that I have is because of the individuals that you see here today. So I really appreciate you guys, and I humbly accept this award. Being a field instructor, at times can be challenging because students don't really see the value in the teaching that we provide. As stated, sometimes, there's some dismay with the style, but I always tell students that I'm never going to give you less than what I'm going to give myself. And I try to teach them, we have to take this serious. We're dealing with people's lives. We're dealing with mental health. So it's really important to me that, how we start is how I want us to finish. So we always start serious. And I'm so happy to hear that at the end, students appreciate the teaching. But again, I get it from, where I started, and I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. I humbly accept this award. I'm excited. I'm surprised. And I just appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Going the wrong way.
Emeritus Award, we're coming on. Coming on the end. We have Keely Thomas. If you could please come up, present the award to Charles McCormick.
Good afternoon. My name is Keely Thomas, MSW from '07. I had to double check that date, actually. That's how long ago it seems sometimes. And presenter of this year's Emeritus Award. The Emeritus Award acknowledges and honors a UMSSW graduate who has devoted their entire life to the social work profession and is perhaps retired or nearing retirement. The award recipient is recognized for having demonstrated the best social work values and accomplishments throughout the social worker's lifetime career. The honoree has made professional contributions of lasting impact and has demonstrated ongoing innovation, creativity, and passion for a practice area or population of concern to the social work profession. Since 1974, Charles McCormick has worked inpatient psychiatric units, family violence, sexual abuse, and drug treatment programs, as well as private practice. Among his achievements, he was named the Senior Social Worker of the Adult Long-Term Inpatient Services at Shepherd Pratt, guest faculty of the Washington School of Psychiatry, and Clinician of the Year by the Maryland Society of Clinical Social Work. His writings include The Borderline Schizoid Marriage, Treating Borderline States in Marriage, and Essence, the 2022 Montaigne Medal winner for being the most thought-provoking of books. Charles McCormick has spoken nationally, conveying ways of conceptualizing and humanizing individuals and couples impacted by borderline mental states. He brings a contagious sense of humor and compassion to his work, often surprising new patients and colleagues with how safe they feel and how often they laugh with him in therapy. Charles is earnest and committed to his patients and colleagues and never shies away from difficult issues. When asked why I nominated Charles McCormick, who's also my dad, you didn't know that, the big surprise there, but I would have to say it's really because ever since I was a baby social worker myself, I saw firsthand how human he treated people and how he talked about them, even behind the closed doors. You know those days as a social worker where you are frustrated and you're angry? He never loses sight of the humanity. I saw it time and time again. And so he's given the rest of us the courage to do that as well. So congratulations to the 2023 Emeritus Award winner, Charles McCormick.
I had stuff prepared to say. I had stuff prepared to say, and I want to throw it out the window. I sometimes do that when I give courses. I just throw it all out the window and go with streams of consciousness. I was about age 22 when I realized I didn't need a job. I needed a calling. Social work provided me with that. That's at around age 25 is when I started working at Shepherd Pratt as a volunteer, because I realized learning theory and practice, I really loved that stuff. It was kind of a form of intelligence I had. First I had found, but there it was like coming home again. And I didn't know I was looking for a home. I didn't know it until I found it there. And what I saw there, it kind of looked into me as I looked into it. And they were just, some people say that this award has gone to my head. It is true that I did, when I found out I was a recipient of this award, it was a total surprise. I'd forgotten it existed. I did break out into my 48-minute signature happy dance, which entails me shuffling my feet while dancing with my head. If any of you need to scour that image from your mind, I totally understand. And it is true that I lined my 9 grandchildren up, ages 4 to 13, and explained to them that moving forward, they would need to, instead of calling me Opa Duck, long story, or Opa Cha Cha, another long story, they would have to call me either Sir or Mr. Emeritus. And I focused on the emeritus because they were having a hard time getting their words around it, particularly the younger ones. So I said emeritus. And then the youngest, age 4, turned to me and kind of screwed up her face a bit. Her name's Marin. She's such a sweetie. And she looked at me. She said, Opa, are you going to eat us? All jokes aside, though, I'm deeply touched. I'm fighting back emotions. And I want to thank the board of directors of the Alumni Association for, singling me out in this way. I want to thank all the therapists that I've had over the years, some of which I drove absolutely crazy, but some of them, we must say, was a short trip. I also wanted to thank my supervisors, my mentors, my colleagues. And this is said many times, but no one can say it with more, maybe equal, but not more passion than I will say it now, is that I thank my patients. They have so enriched my life by allowing me into theirs. So thank you very much.
And finally, last but absolutely not least, we have the Alumni of the Year Award. Someone else who admittedly is very near and dear to my heart, but I will ask Susan Loyson to please come down and present Alumni of the Year to Jane Gehring.
Hi, my name is Susan Loyson. I'm a MSW 98 graduate, and I'm super honored to be here to present this award. I'm super glad that I got up here. I have a broken toe and my leg fell asleep while I was sitting there. So I'm really glad I didn't tumble down and fall over. As a prior recipient of this very award, I've learned that there is perhaps more joy in being the nominator than being the nominated. And as Lola May said, I wouldn't have been either had it not been for people sitting in this room and online. I believe Deborah Linsemeyer, David Brainerd, John Harton, the best field instructor ever, until Lola May came, and Judah Shagrin. And so I'm blessed to be in this room presenting this award. And my printer didn't work today. So the Alumni of the Year Award acknowledges and honors a School of Social Work graduate who is making an outstanding contribution to the field of social work and is well known for their contributions in the larger community. The honoree regularly demonstrates leadership, innovation, and positive outcomes in their social work practice area. Jane Gehring has been a social worker with Baltimore County Department of Social Services for beginning her career as a reluctant social work intern at Baltimore County in the Child Protective Services Division. However, she fell in love with public child welfare service. She's inspired and mentored by many clinically focused child welfare social workers, particularly Richard Norman, Mark Vieder, and no surprise, Judith Shagrin. She grew professionally, taking on additional roles in program development, best practices, and social work supervision with Baltimore County. In 2013, she was promoted to the Assistant Director of Family Services, where she enjoys greater support and impact at the local and state levels. It's her joy to work with so many dedicated social work professionals. She was introduced to the field by her husband and UMS School of Social Work alumni husband, Reed, who's here with us today. And her most cherished role has been parent to their 3 sons, Stephen, Benjamin, and Aaron also continues the family tradition as another social worker. I mentioned that I wouldn't be standing here presenting this award without my favorite mentors, Jane, John, Deborah, and David. Though they have this one thing in common, like they both, or not both, because that's four, that's stupid. They all were in some form or fashion like the boss of me. So it was sort of their job to be the amazing innovators that they were. Like that's what they were getting paid for. Jane has been the John, David, Judith, and Deborah to her family services division for many years. She's been the guiding light, the mentor, the compelling force that motivates her staff to remain in this field and sustain the consummate professionalism the field demands. But I personally wouldn't be here presenting this well-deserved award to Jane if it were not for Jane. Jane is not the boss of me. She's not required to support my professional development. She's not responsible to facilitate the hiring of my staff. She's not responsible to advocate for out-of-home placement permanency goals because she's an in-home person, right? And she is not responsible to console me on the incredibly very rare occasions when I cry to her about how challenging this work is. She is not the boss of me, and she doesn't have to do any of this for me because she's actually the boss of like 100 other people. And she's doing all of those things and more for those other people. Yet she still finds a space in her heart to be the boss of me and my entire division. So I am incredibly honored to present and congratulate Jane Gehring on being the 2023 Alumni of the Year.
I am a social worker. Thanks first to my husband, Reed, fellow alum from University of Maryland, who introduced me to the social work profession and encouraged me to follow him here to the University of Maryland. I am a social worker. Thanks to the University of Maryland School of Social Work, which gave me the opportunity for training in child welfare through a placement with a stipend at the Baltimore County Department of Social Services at a time when my fellow social workers were not considering a field in public child welfare. And they had to pay us to come and be there as an intern. And that is still the case with the 4E program that was the subsequent development of the program I was in. And that program is essential and critical to developing child welfare social workers and does a phenomenal job in doing so. We've certainly been the beneficiary of many of the well-trained student interns that come from the University of Maryland School of Social Work. I am a social worker, thanks also to Baltimore County Department of Social Services. My 33-year career there has been an opportunity for growth and challenges through the incredible mentorship and joy that I find in engaging with other social workers at every level, from our new interns that come in so bright and enthusiastic and with great ideas and vision for what we can become and how we can best serve the children and families in our care. To wonderful mentors, Judith and Susan, that give to one another and support us in the very challenging work that we face. I am a social worker, but I don't stand here alone as an honoree. I'm here representing all public child welfare social workers who do this incredibly hard work using their compassion, clinical skills, innovation, and dedication to make a difference and a contribution to the field of social work. So thank you to those who nominated me, those who selected me, and to all of you who came to celebrate with us today. Thank you.
And that concludes our award ceremony today. I want to warmly congratulate all of our award winners. Thank you so much to those folks who made nominations and to those who have presented them. You've made this year's ceremony even more special. We appreciate the time you invested to make sure we have such a great group of award winners. so we can continue this fine tradition. And don't forget, the 2024 nomination form is already available on the school's website, or in very 2023, the QR code on your table. And as difficult it is to make decisions when we get lots of nominees, it's such a privilege to read about these incredible social workers. So please think about your colleagues who are doing amazing work and take 5 minutes to nominate them for an award for next year. And now the moment you've been waiting for, lunch. Thank you so much. Oh, one more thing. I just want to remind you all, if you could please donate to the school's fund, a little or a lot, participation matters.
Thank you, Judith. And again, just a little bit of logistics. Those that want photos taken, we're going to gather with our award winners down here in this corner, and lunch is available out both doors. There's a buffet outside with the staff out there to assist you in getting your lunches. So enjoy lunch.